Have you ever asked yourself why some of the smartest people you know, the ones who were praised for their intelligence as kids, often feel empty, lonely, tired, disconnected as adults? Well, why do the people who were once called gifted, exceptional, or different end up feeling unmotivated or isolated later in life? This video is not just about intelligence, it's about the weight of being intelligent and how the Dunning-Kruger effect can quietly shape our self-perception, our relationships, and even our sense of meaning. So, let's start with the basics. The Dunning-Kruger effect is a psychological bias discovered in 1999 by two psychologists. David Dunning and Mr. Justin Kruger. So they reached to a perception that the people with low ability often overestimate their competence, while people with high ability tend to underestimate their competence. So it's a paradox. In other words, the less you know, the more you think you know. And the more you know, the more you realize how little you actually understand. This creates an ironic twist. Intelligent, self aware people are often the least confident. Imagine you're in a class. Usually, the smartest person will never raise their hand to come up with the answer unless they're sure that the answer is right. Meanwhile, there is another person who's not very smart, but they're confident. They will say, "Okay, I will try to talk. If it's wrong, it's wrong. So it's not a worst case scenario. Nothing will happen." Those who know the least can appear the most certain. In real world, it's just like that. So the gifted child trap. What does it even mean? Now imagine this: you're a child who learns very fast. Teachers praise you, the society loves that, you finish tasks really early, get perfect scores and grades, and everyone calls you special. And then it feels good, but it plants a seed in your perception, in your mind. You begin to believe your worth lies in being smart, being quick, and effortless. You start to associate your identity with success without a struggle. And what does this do to you in the long run? From that moment, many gifted minds develop a fear of failure. They avoid challenges not because they're lazy, but because they're terrified that struggling will shatter the image they grew up with. So, when intelligence becomes a psychological cage, being called intelligent can sound like a gift, that's a compliment, it's a beautiful thing. But it can also become a psychological trap. How? When your sense of value depends on being exceptional, anything less than perfect feels like humiliation, like a very normal thing, very low. So imagine that you're in that position. So you stop experimenting. You stop trying new things unless you're sure you'll succeed. Your world becomes smaller circles, safer, but in a matter of fact, emptier. On the outside, you still look successful, but inside, perhaps feel disconnected from curiosity, from joy, from people. You live in your head, analyzing life instead of actually living it. And this happens quite very often, especially nowadays, post COVID in 2025. People kind of have this. And if you actually go and see, like a lot of therapists these days are having way too many, let's say, patients. It's not a matter of like basic needs, it's a psychological game that in this channel we're going to talk about, as I believe most people would not talk about this very important topics. And feel free to comment down below your questions and drop us a like. So, I'm also wearing this because I think it looks cool. And so that's why many bright minds begin to feel chronic emptiness in the long run. Not because they failed or anything, but because they stopped feeling, they stopped experimenting, for like going out of the comfort zone to experimenting something new that they didn't have an experience before. So in the long run, what will happen? We're going to talk about that. Highly intelligent people often develop something called cognitive empathy, the ability to understand what others feel logically, but that's not the same as feeling with them. So they understand what other people are feeling without the fact that they would actually feel that. So this is called the emotional connection and cognitive empathy, that they can actually develop this kind of behavior into empathy. And you might know exactly why someone is sad or happy. You can analyze their behavior, their trauma, but still feel emotionally detached. That's not a lack of care, that's a sign that the mind has become a defense mechanism. Speaking of defense mechanism, when thinking replaces feeling, we start living in a mental simulation of life, not in the life itself. So stay with me, I'm going to explain it, I'm going to simplify it for you. We understand everything, but nothing truly moves us in that personal level. So this is why many bright people can connect intellectually but still feel profoundly alone. I mean, look at a lot of scientists. Most of the pictures that they have, they were alone. A lot of superheroes, also they were alone. They didn't have a spouse or anything. So this loneliness on a stage actually shows and depicts the fact that they had this kind of phenomenon. So the hidden defense mechanism, what is it? When loneliness grows heavily, the mind protects itself and it whispers some things. For instance, I'm just different, or no one really understands me, or my depth is a curse. I'm too deep and they're just too shallow. It's not the right fit. Trying to, you know, because they're smart, trying to like come up with some ideas why this actually even happens. But why is it? It sounds like truth, but it's actually a shield. It's like a way to hide the pain of not being seen. And over time, that shield turns into arrogance or emotional distance, not out of pride, but out of fear. So, long story short, deep down, the gifted child, for instance, just wants to be loved, not admired, to be accepted without having to perform. But admiration replaced connection, and success replaced belonging. And the way out from mind to heart, what is the next stage? You might be curious to know. So, here's the good news actually. That person can step out of this loop with just the fact that they don't have to abandon their intelligence. They can just have the balance right there in the friend zone and society, and can come back to the heart and feeling a little bit more empathy and emotion. It starts with one simple act, letting go of the gifted child label. But that's easier said than done, isn't it? That doesn't mean denying the abilities. It means freeing yourself from the pressure to be exceptional. It means building a new identity based on growth, effort, and authenticity, not perfectionism. Allowing yourself to make mistakes, to fail, to feel perhaps embarrassed, because only through imperfection can you return to what's real. We're not perfect. There's a phrase saying, practice makes perfect. But even though that is a phrase, uh, some people say that no one is perfect and only God is perfect, so you just have to improve. So, in the end, this isn't a story about losing like intelligence. It's about rediscovering wholeness to feel belonging, peace, and love. You don't need to be smarter, you just need to be more human. So, if you've ever felt like you think too much, analyze too deeply, or that no one truly understands you, know this: you're not broken and you're not alone. You're just being invited to come back from your mind to your heart. And if this message spoke to you, share it with someone who overthinks everything. Sometimes all a smart mind needs is a reminder that it's okay to just feel and it's okay to just let it go. You don't need to know all the answer to all the questions. In life, sometimes you would be examined first and then you would learn the lesson. It's exactly opposite of the actual college or university, because you would be examined on the teaching material, but in the reality you face a unique situation, then something happens, and then okay, this is like that. Then you learn through practice and through doing. So only doing is doing. So I hope that this video actually spoke to you, and feel free to subscribe and drop a like or comment, and see you guys in the next one.